I'm here with John Dugan, who is Grandpa from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. How is your weekend going so far?
It's been a lot of fun. I like rubbing elbows with the fans. I like making money as well. One day I can make 3 times as much money as I made on the original film doing one of these things.
I was walking around trying to find you thinking I was looking for some old guy. And how old were you when you made the original movie?
I was 20. Now I am an old guy.
You're not an old guy.
Actually, I'm a grandfather now, so...
So you are Grandpa. You actually qualify. How did you actually get involved with that character?
This is always an embarrassing question. My sister was married to Kim Henkel. So there was a family connection. However, I was an actor, and I was at the Art Institute of Chicago, the Goodman Theater. I was in Chicago doing a children's play in party-colored tights, for the summer. 2 shows a day, 6 days a week, $125. My first paying acting job.
Wow.
Since this is 1973, to me it was like a fortune. And the fact I was acting for a living,
Right, yeah.
My brother-in-law calls from Texas and says, and this is the 70s, and he goes, it's like, hey, man, are you crazy? And I said, yeah, man, I'm crazy. Well, how crazy are you, man? I'm exaggerating, of course, but 2 weeks later, instead of dancing around in tights, entertaining children, singing silly songs, I was doing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was one of the neatest summers of my life, actually. I started out the summer doing children's theater, and I ended up the summer doing a horror film. I mean, it's like there's a whole yin and yang thing kind of going on there.
How long did it take to shoot?
If you asked every cast member, each one of them will give you a different answer. But I'm thinking about 6 weeks. I was there for 6 weeks. And I think they've been shooting for a week before I got there. So
did you have any idea, did you read the whole script and think, this is completely nuts? Or, because it was really one of the first movies like that.
This is one of the times that, fortunately, I had the entire script. A lot of times you just get a side, your scene, so you really don't know what you like. You go in and you're like, I did a film last year, I don't know what it's about. I know what my scene was about. Did I have any idea? I thought it was interesting. I think Kim Henkel's a marvelous writer. He actually teaches screenwriting at A&M Corpus Christi, I think. I thought it was interesting. No one had any idea, of course, that it was going to become the sort of almost a trendsetter for an entire generation of filmmakers.
Absolutely a trendsetter, yeah.
And we didn't know that. Of course, we didn't know how financially successful it was going to be. Otherwise, we'd all had lawyers and agents and things like that, and I wouldn't be on the on the circuit signing autographs. I enjoyed the circuit. I dropped out of the circuit for 15 years. I just came back, started again in September last year, and I'm having a ball. You meet new people every other weekend because people drift in and out of different shows and things. And then, in a few weeks down, you see somebody you haven't seen for 3 shows.
When was the first time you actually saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I saw the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in, I think it was the Lyric Theater in Chicago, Illinois, which was about a block off of State Street. And it was a sneak preview. I just recognized the ad in the paper. There was a picture of the poster here that says who will survive and what will become of them, but it did not have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on there. There it said sneak preview tonight. So if you go to the one movie, you get that one for free. Downtown Chicago about 9 o'clock at night on a Sunday or something. And there were 6 of us that walked about 14 blocks. We got there just as they were locking the door to the theater, and the guy would not sell tickets to get in. And a friend of mine threw a fit and said, hey, man, he's in this movie. He's in this movie. You got to let us in. You got to let us in. And finally, we talked him into letting us in. Mark Dimmitt was that guy's name. I thought he was going to kick the theater manager's butt. He was so upset. Well, we'd walked a long way.
What did you think? That's a terrifying movie. It really is.
Well, to me, it's a comedy because I was there. I was there. I know everybody involved. I know all those backstories. I know what people tripped over and this and that. Or I remember that day. That sort of thing. At the time, I was so much on a high because I was a 21-year-old actor in my first movie. That's just a blur to me. But I did, however, I saw it 3 weeks, a month ago in Dallas with an audience in a theater for the first time in 25 years. And I was surprisingly impressed with how good it actually is. Great camera work, well written, well acted, well directed. I was just extremely impressed. Damn, we did a good job. We were just a bunch of kids. Half of us out of theater school, half of us out of film school. For a summer job, we did pretty well.
What's your chili recipe?
My chili recipe?
Grandpa.
You need a combination of venison and pork sausage. You need to fresh grind your own chilies. No beans, Texas chili. Beans are on the side.
Because the recorder was still on when I asked him to sign an autograph for me. He told a little anecdote, and here it is.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You've been signing automatically all weekend.
When I signed my income tax return last week, you know, something income
Yes,
tax.
yeah.
And my wife went, because I was getting ready to write grandpa in parentheses behind. She was like, "What are you doing?"
Since the date of that interview, John Dugan has been in ZP Films' Monstrosity. We hope to see him at future Chiller events. Thanks so much to him for talking to us. For Chiller Radio, I am Diabolical Diane.